Hello, my dear friends, and a very warm welcome to Elder Care Wisdom. I am so truly grateful you've chosen to spend this time with me today. This is a place where we talk openly, kindly, and supportively about the journey of aging, focusing on practical tips, heartfelt advice, and simple ways to feel our very best at every stage of life. Have you ever had one of those moments that just makes you pause? Maybe you were walking past a mirror and caught your own reflection, or perhaps you sat down after a busy day and noticed a faint, unfamiliar scent on your clothes. It's not a strong smell, just a subtle hint, barely there, but it's enough to make you stop and wonder, was that me? That feeling, that tiny question mark that pops into your mind can be so unsettling. You try so hard. You take your showers, you use your nice soaps, you keep your home clean and your clothes fresh. You do everything you believe is right to take care of yourself. And yet, something still feels just a little bit off. If this has ever happened to you, I want you to know something very important right from the start. You are not imagining it. And you are certainly, absolutely not alone. For so many wonderful women over the age of 60, our amazing bodies begin to communicate with us in new and quieter ways. This is a natural part of the beautiful journey of life. We experience gentle changes in our skin, which can become thinner and more delicate. Our hormone levels naturally shift, especially after menopause, and this can change how our sweat glands behave and how our body produces its natural oils. Even our body's process of gently shedding old skin cells slows down, which can mean that those cells stay on the surface a little longer than they used to. All of these natural changes can sometimes team up to create unexpected odors, even on days when we are trying our very best to stay clean and fresh. But here is the most important truth I want to share with you today. This is not about being dirty. It is not a sign of poor hygiene. Not at all. It is about knowing better. Because sometimes, my friends, it is the very habits we think are helping us that are quietly, secretly making things a little worse. The routines we've followed for decades might need a gentle update to match our body's current needs. In this video, we are going to uncover and talk about 8 surprising bathroom habits that might be affecting your natural scent as you age. But more importantly, I will show you some incredibly gentle, doctor-recommended solutions that can help you feel fresh, clean, and deeply, wonderfully comfortable in your own skin again. If you have ever had a moment of wondering about this, even just once, would you do me a kindness? Please comment with the number 1 foot below this video. It's just a simple way for me to know I'm speaking directly to you, my right person, and that this conversation is helpful. And if you enjoy these simple, trustworthy tips and would like more support on your journey, please consider subscribing to our Elder Care Wisdom channel and clicking the little bell icon next to it. That way, you'll never miss a moment of the real practical wisdom we share here, all made just for you. Now please don't go anywhere, because near the end of our time together, I'll share one very small, simple shift in your daily routine that could truly change how you feel about your body forever. It's a powerful little tip. Let's begin our conversation. I'd like to tell you a story about a lovely woman named Eleanor. Eleanor was 65 years young, and she truly believed she had settled comfortably into her own skin. She had lived a full and beautiful life. She had raised a wonderful family. She had survived her share of heartbreaks, and she had weathered more winters than she could easily count. And with each passing year, she felt she'd grown a little stronger and a little wiser. But one warm, sunny afternoon, she was helping her young granddaughter tie her little shoelaces. The little girl looked up at her with those big, innocent eyes that children have and asked so sweetly, "Grandma, why do you smell like the attic?" Now, Eleanor, being the graceful woman she was, laughed it off at first and gave her granddaughter a hug. But later that night, when she was alone in her bathroom, she thought about that comment. She sniffed at her shirt sleeve, then she sniffed her arm, then she even sniffed the towel hanging on the rack. And for the very first time, a worried thought crossed her mind. Is this what getting older actually smells like? You see, my friends, no one really talks about this part of aging, do they? We talk about wrinkles, or about our memory, or about our joints. but the quiet, subtle shift in how our own body smells. It feels too delicate, too private, too embarrassing to bring up. And yet, it is so very real. As we age, our skin does become thinner and more fragile, and this can make it a little easier for natural bacteria to linger. Our hormone levels do drop, which changes how our sweat glands work and how our body processes its own natural oils. And even our body's wonderful ability to exfoliate itself naturally slows down, meaning those dead skin cells don't shed as quickly as they once did. They can build up quietly, especially in places we might often overlook, like our feet, under our arms, or in skin folds. But here is what matters the most, and I want you to really hear this. This is not about being dirty. It is about being different. Your body is not broken. It is not failing you. It is simply evolving, changing, as all living things do. And this evolution does not require shame or embarrassment. It just needs a little bit of understanding and some new knowledge. You do not need fancy perfumes to cover things up. You do not need expensive, complicated creams. You do not need to scrub your skin harder or feel like you need to hide away. You just need to know which everyday habits might be quietly working against you, and how you can gently change them to support your body better. In just a few moments, we will explore 8 very common bathroom habits that may be affecting your scent without you even realizing it. And we will walk together through some simple, science-backed, and very easy ways to help you feel fresher, lighter, and more comfortable in your body again. So, if you have ever caught yourself wondering why you feel a little off, or if someone you love has made an innocent comment that somehow stayed with you, please know this: you are not alone in this feeling. And you absolutely do not have to accept discomfort as a normal or unavoidable part of aging. Please stay with me. This journey we're on today might start with a conversation about a scent, but it is really, truly about reclaiming how you feel in your own wonderful skin. Now, let's gently explore those 8 bathroom habits that can secretly make odor a little worse. Habit number 1. Using too much soap in your private area. Let me tell you about a kind woman named Ruth. Ruth had always been a woman who deeply believed in the importance of staying clean. To her, it wasn't just about being tidy, it was about self-respect. It was how her own mother had raised her. A clean home meant you respected yourself, and that belief extended to caring for her own body too. So, when she reached her 60 seconds and began to notice her body changing, her skin becoming drier, her natural scent shifting slightly, she did what felt right and natural to her. She scrubbed a little harder. She began to use more soap, especially in her delicate private area. She used a lavender-scented body wash in the morning, a light powder in the afternoon, and she even kept special feminine wipes in her purse, just in case she needed them. But despite all of her careful and well-intentioned routines, Ruth began to notice something that felt off. A faint irritation, a strange dryness she hadn't felt before, and sometimes an odor that she couldn't quite explain, a scent that seemed to linger despite her very best efforts. At first, she simply blamed her age. Maybe this is just what happens when you get older, she thought to herself. But deep down, it really bothered her. So, she did something very brave. She brought it up with her doctor during a checkup. And what she learned that day completely changed everything for her. Ruth, her doctor said gently, your body is trying its very best to protect you, but some of the products you are using are accidentally stripping away the very things it needs to stay healthy. It turns out, my friends, that the skin in our most private areas is more delicate than anywhere else on our bodies. And inside, our bodies are beautifully designed to care for themselves. The vagina has its own natural internal cleansing system, a delicate rhythm, that maintains a healthy balance of good bacteria and a specific pH level. It doesn't need our heavy-handed help, it just needs our gentle respect. When we overwash these areas with soaps, perfumes, and even products labeled gentle or for women, we can disrupt that natural balance. We accidentally remove the good bacteria that work to keep us healthy, and in doing so, we can create space for irritation, for minor infections, and yes, for odor. Ruth was truly stunned. All these years, she thought she was being extra careful and clean. But in truth, she was working against her own body's natural wisdom. Now, Ruth's routine is much simpler and gentler. She uses plenty of warm water and only uses a fragrance-free, very mild cleanser on the outside when she feels it is truly needed. Nothing goes inside. Nothing is harsh. Just simple, respectful care. And for the first time in years, she feels genuinely fresh, not because she has masked something with perfume, but because she has learned to trust her body again. Sometimes, my dear friends, doing less is actually the most loving and caring thing we can do for ourselves. Habit number 2. Reusing bath towels too many times. I want to introduce you to Helen. Helen always prided herself on being a sensible and practical person. She grew up in a time when waste was strongly frowned upon, and every single item in her home had a purpose and was valued. So, when it came to her bath towel, she did what she thought was perfectly reasonable. She would hang it back up neatly and reuse it for the entire week. After all, she used to say with a smile, "I only use it when I'm clean. How dirty can a towel really get?" But over time, Helen began to notice something she couldn't quite explain. Even after a lovely hot shower, her skin didn't feel as fresh and clean as it should. There was a faint, musty smell that she just couldn't seem to shake, and her once smooth arms had started to develop small patches of dryness and irritation. At first, she blamed her aging skin. "I'm just getting older," she thought. "This must be part of it." But deep down, something about that explanation didn't sit right with her. It wasn't until her daughter came to visit and casually mentioned that the bathroom smelled a little damp that Helen finally paused and thought about it. That night, she picked up her towel, brought it close, and took a deep breath. The scent wasn't overpowering, but it was there, a stale, slightly sour odor that she had simply grown used to. Curious, she decided to look it up, and what she discovered truly surprised her. Bath towels, especially when they are hung in warm, humid bathrooms, can trap moisture deep within their fibers for many, many hours. That lingering dampness becomes the perfect environment for bacteria, mildew, and even mold to grow. And every single time we rub that towel across our clean, freshly washed skin, we could be transferring those invisible microbes right back onto ourselves. The very thing Helen trusted to keep her clean was quietly, secretly undoing all of her hard work after each shower. Now, Helen does things a little differently. She rotates between 3 clean towels, and she makes sure to wash them after every 2 or 3 uses. She always hangs each one wide open on a rack to dry completely, never crumpled up on a hook where air can't circulate. She even leaves the bathroom fan on a little longer after her shower to help the air and her towels dry out faster. The result? Her skin feels much better. The air in her bathroom smells fresher, and that subtle feeling of unease she once carried with her is completely gone. I never realized something as small as a towel could make such a big difference in how I feel, she says now. And isn't that so true of so many things in our lives? Habit number 3. Ignoring the importance of daily foot care. I'd like you to meet Dorothy. Dorothy had always taken great pride in how she presented herself to the world. Her hair was always softly curled. Her blouse was always pressed just right, and she always wore a lovely hint of rose water behind her ears. But there was one thing she rarely, if ever, thought about: her feet. They're not on display, she used to joke with her friends. No one's looking down there. And for many years, that attitude worked just fine for her, until it didn't. It started in a very subtle way. She noticed a faint, sour smell in her shoes, even on days when she hadn't been particularly active or busy. Then came the dry, flaky skin around her heels that lotion didn't seem to help. And finally, an itch arrived, a quiet, persistent, annoying itch between her toes that would sometimes keep her up at night. Dorothy thought it was just simple dryness. She tried applying more lotion. She changed her socks more often. She switched to different shoes, but nothing seemed to help. In fact, things only seemed to get a little worse. It wasn't until a visit to her foot doctor, her podiatrist, that the truth finally came out. "You're doing everything right," he said to her gently. "Except for the one thing that matters most. You're ignoring your feet." As we get older, our skin changes all over our body, including our feet. The skin on our feet doesn't shed its dead cells as easily as it once did. Our feet, which are tucked away inside socks and shoes all day long, become a prime place for trapped sweat, bacteria, and odor to develop. And those dead skin cells? They build up over time, especially in warm, moist areas like between the toes, creating a perfect environment for fungus, irritation, and yes, those unpleasant smells. Dorothy was stunned. She had been so careful about everything else in her personal care routine. Why had no one ever told her that her feet needed their own special kind of care? That very day, she made a quiet promise to herself to stop treating her feet like an afterthought. Now, every single shower includes a full mindful minute just for her feet. She gently scrubs them with a soft washcloth and a very mild soap, making absolutely sure to wash carefully between each and every toe. Once a week, she uses a pumice stone to gently buff away the buildup on her heels. And perhaps most importantly, she always dries her feet thoroughly after washing. No shortcuts, no rushing. On warmer days, or when she knows she'll be wearing closed-toe shoes, she sprinkles a light antifungal foot powder into her socks to help keep things dry and fresh all day long. The result? No more itching, no more unwanted odor, and best of all, a wonderful new sense of confidence. I didn't just clean my feet, Dorothy laughs now. I learned to listen to them, and sometimes, my friends, that's all our body is asking from us, to be listened to and cared for with attention. Habit number 4, flushing the toilet with the lid left open. This next story is about a wonderfully tidy woman named Marge. Marge always kept a spotlessly clean home. Her bathroom sparkled, her mirrors gleamed. She had a lovely lavender air freshener sitting politely on the shelf, and her hand towels were changed every other day without fail. So, when a neighbor casually mentioned something called a toilet plume, Marge actually laughed. "That sounds made up," she chuckled, picturing a cartoon toilet puffing out little clouds of smoke. But her curiosity eventually got the best of her. That night, she decided to look it up online, and what she found made her skin crawl. Every single time you flush a toilet with the lid left open, tiny invisible droplets of water, filled with bacteria, and other particles from the bowl, are launched up into the air like a microscopic geyser or fountain. These tiny droplets can travel up to 6 feet through the air, floating silently before they land on surfaces. All throughout your bathroom, your sink, your clean towels, your hairbrush, and even your toothbrush. Marge suddenly thought of all the times she had flushed the toilet while she was brushing her teeth, or when her freshly washed towels were hanging nearby on the rack. She imagined those invisible particles drifting through the air and landing on her freshly washed face, on her soap dish. The thought made her stomach turn. The irony of it all hit her very hard. Her bathroom looked clean, it smelled clean, and yet, she might have been spreading germs around without ever even realizing it. From that day forward, she made one incredibly simple change. She closed the lid every single time before flushing. It became second nature to her, just like turning off the lights or washing her hands. And she noticed something else too. That faint, lingering odor she sometimes noticed in the bathroom after guests had left. It was gone. The difference wasn't dramatic, but it was real. Her bathroom smelled fresher, and it simply felt safer. And when her young granddaughter came to stay for the weekend, Marge smiled as she taught her a new rule of the house: always close the lid before you flush, sweetheart. Because sometimes, staying healthy doesn't require fancy tools or harsh chemicals. It just requires a little bit of knowledge and a quiet shift in a daily habit. It's the cleanest my bathroom has ever felt, Marge says now with a wink, and I barely had to lift a finger. Habit number 5, wearing the same underwear to bed that you wore during the day. I'd like you to think about a woman named Evelyn. Evelyn loved her calm and peaceful evening routine. She would have a cup of chamomile tea, put on her favorite robe that was soft from years of use, and spend a few minutes reading her book before drifting off to sleep. It was simple, familiar, and very comfortable. So, when her doctor gently suggested that she should change into a fresh pair When her doctor gently suggested that she should change into a fresh pair,